if it's exactly where you're headed, but probably related. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, he may be able to guide you as you're trying to figure out where you're going with it, you know? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's been teaching for 30 years. He goes back and finds all the people who've done urban planning, city planning, and things, I think, at his conventions. They're all his students. You got good connections there. Wow. Wow. Well, if any of them need a CPA or a controller, tell my husband, because he can do that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. That's very cool. Oh, that's very cool. All right, good. Well, yeah. Wow, meet the guys. Meet the gentlemen. Oh, Reese is here. Okay, so there's two of us and the gentleman. Oh, I forgot. Sue is here. So let me see how many. I see a couple people. How many we got? I don't know if Bill is Bill still out of the country? He was out of the country a couple weeks ago. But,
We were both in France at the same time.
were you? Oh, fun. Very cool.
I brought my invisible friend to the camera.
Your invisible friend? No,
Yeah,
not to see him.
There's two.
See him if we can. I mean, good idea. I mean, you know, otherwise that's a difficult precedent. You could always have lots of invisible friends. Now, I may need to check on you if you have an invisible friend. How good
Well,
you
he
are.
has one too.
Oh, you both have one?
I can channel someone for you.
You channel someone for me?
Yeah.
That's even scarier. Let me see what we have. Oh, the door's opening. Oh, it's the Lamont. Okay. Wow. Look at that. I want you to look at Tom's shirt. Because that is a perfect shirt for a Memorial Day weekend, which, not for Memorial Day, but for the weekend, which kicks off the official summer, right? Look what you're wearing. I'm going to take that with me to the beach, that shirt.
It's my Hawaiian shirt.
It looks like your Hawaiian shirt.
It is.
Very cool.
Straight from,
Really?
straight from
Yeah.
Hawaii.
Jeffrey's parents just got back from Hawaii, so my guess is they probably own a shirt just like that now.
Well, similar. There are quite a number of shirts.
Something like it. Yeah, not the exact one, but something like it. You know, a surfer and some palm trees, and that's Hawaii. What part of Hawaii? They were all around. They took a little cruise, like they flew and took a cruise ship around.
Nice.
Or whatever, I don't really know. But one of those kind of trips. So, but I've been to Maui, and you know, that's fun. And Oahu, those are all fun places.
We got this one in San Francisco.
Oh, cool.
No,
You
well,
got some Hawaiian
no,
shirt.
it was,
Okay.
Well,
Walks into the synagogue and starts lying.
Oh, okay.
it could be
well,
or
untrue.
Could be known as a surfer on there.
I
Nobody's
think
surfed before.
this is
leave.
Nobody's surfed before. And those are, well, it could be anybody. Those plants are very Hawaii. All right, so let me look here and see.
Yeah, but it was Hawaiian.
We're still a little short. So we're going to get started. Let's see what we got. Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I thought I was the only one who had an invisible friend.
I generally don't talk about people.
I know we can't count everybody here. So we,
We all have the same friend.
Linda, do you want to light candles? Anybody want to light candles? You want to do it? Good.
Mine's a Hasidic rabbi up here.
Let's see if I can.
A Hasidic rabbi is your friend. He wouldn't want to be here, I hate to tell
Where's the lighter?
That's a good question. Where's the lighter?
Is it not?
Uh-oh. Well, let's see. We might have to run and get one. I don't know what they do last week. They didn't do one last week?
Look over in
Yeah.
the other podium.
Would it be in the other? Shouldn't be in the other one.
Shouldn't be, but I'll check. You never know.
What? Yeah.
Well, I don't see it, so I'll go grab one. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, we do. This is not it, but let's see if this one works. There you go. We rise as we pause to light our candles for this
Oops,
evening.
wait, no, wait.
Want help?
Yeah, I had it last time. Okay,
That's a
push it
tricky one.
forward.
Yep,
There
you
go.
got it. That's a tricky one.
It's tricky. There we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'halei pnei shel Shabbat.
Hey, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Well, we're going to start, as we usually do, over on page 5, where you'll find Shalom Aleichem, our hymn, welcoming in the Sabbath. And this weekend, holiday weekend, I know that we have a lot of people away, Some people celebrating a bat mitzvah over at the temple, and other people just being lazy and enjoying themselves, which is a good thing to do on a Shabbat. So there's no complaints there. Certainly, we wish Barry feeling better, because she will. And same kind of things going on. So we got some people not a little under the weather for various reasons. So we hope that they're all feeling better soon too. So page 5, you will find Shalom Aleichem as we join together. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mihi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You'll kindly turn to page 11, where you'll find the formal beginning of Kabbalat Shabbat, our Lechu Neranena, our Psalm 95, as we join together. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai. Naria, Naria, Litzur Yishenu, Nekadma Fana Bitoda. Naria, Naria, Litzur Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria lo. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Ladonai. Ki Gadol Adonai Melech Gadol Elohim. I'm by the arrow on page 12. Arba'im shana kut bedor va'omar am toev levavhem v'hem lo yadu derachai asher nishbati v'apihim yavohon el menuchati. Page 14, by the arrow, we join together. This is an appropriate one because I'll talk about it later, but we talk about the land and the sabbatical for the land in this week's parashah. We'll again discuss that in just a little bit. But here the heavens are glad, the earth rejoices, the sea in its fullness roar. It's in a sense just as we do when we celebrate, the earth is as well. So we'll see a parallel in the Torah in just a little bit. Page 14. Yismechu hashamayim, Yismechu hashamayim. Yismechu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz. Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam umelo. Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam, Yihiram hayam umelo. Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo as yirananu kol otzei ya'ar lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz yishpot tevel b'tzedek v'yamim b'emunato. You'll kindly turn to page 19. At the bottom of the page, you'll find a selection we've been adding for a while now, and it again links us to our brothers and sisters in Israel, because it comes from a Tel Aviv prayer community, and it certainly reminds us of the importance of what Shabbat can be for us as human beings in the world. So page 19 at the very bottom in the English, in the small print, if you'll join with me on the left side. Together, blessed is your coming Shabbat, blessed is your coming. Bring with you rest and peace following a tumultuous week filled with so many demands. Bring the space in which, with others and alone, we can shape an infinity of dreams. Bring the hour of forgiveness in which to hear the pounding heart of another human being. Blessed is your coming Shabbat. Blessed is your Creator. Blessed is your light. Amen. Page 20 by the arrow. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Page 21, you'll find the 29th Psalm. We rise as we join together in singing. 21. Mizmor leDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, havu l'Adonai kavod va'os, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai hamayim, El hakavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai b'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayishaber Adonai et arzei halavanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel Levanon v'Sirion Kimoven Re'emim Kol Adonai Chotzef Lavotesh Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh Kol Adonai Yecholel Ayalot Vayechesof Ye'arot Uvehechalo Kulo Omer Kavod Adonai Lamalbu Yashav Vayeshev Adonai Melech Leolam Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain Adonai Yevarech et Amo Vashalom. You are welcome to be seated. Page 22, page 23, you will find Lecha Dodi, our hymn welcoming in Shabbat as our bride or queen into our midst. We'll do the first two verses on 23, the middle verse on 24, and the last two verses on 25. And as we get there, that last verse, I'll give you the signal as we rise and welcome in the Sabbath bride or queen like the mystics did and do. And someone will magically open up the door. You and Richard, you guys can figure out who wants to do it back there as we get to that last verse. So page 23, please join with me. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lechuven elcha Ki mekor haberacha mehirosh mikedem nesucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. 24 Hitoreri kiva lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. 25 Yaminu semot tifrotzi V'et Adonai ta'aritzi al yadish ben partzi v'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Bohi v'shalom ateret bala Gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala Toch emunei am segula B'wichala Lecha Dodi lecha dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat nekabela Lecha dodi likrat kala Pene Shabbat nekabela. You are welcome to be seated. Page 27, you will find the Psalm for Shabbat as we join together. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laHadonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, lehagid baboker chasdecha, ve'emunarcha balelot, alei asor v'alei navel, alei higayon bechinor, mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laHadonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Ki simchtani Adonai befa'alecha, b'ma'asei yadecha aranein. Magadlu masecha Adonai, me'odam kumachshavotech. Mizmor shir leyom haShabbat, tov lehodot laHadonai, ulezamer leshimcha elyon, ulezamer leshimcha elyon. Ish ba'ar lo yeda uchse lo yavin etzot bifroch b'shem kol. We conclude the psalm over on page 28 by the arrow. Tzadikat amar yifrach, ke'erez balevanon yizkeh shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yiyu lehagid ki ashar Adonai Tzuri, tzuri, velo havlatabo. Those reciting Kaddish Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish, you'll find it over on page 30. Page 30, those reciting, and we have, again, as a congregation for a while, been designating this Kaddish as one that we remember those who died in the attacks on October 7th. And I know this week in particular, we saw the finding of several bodies from those either hostages or those who were taken across during that tragedy. And so page 30, we certainly keep them in our thoughts today. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam olomei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudisha b'richu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'imaru. Amen. May be seated. So this Shabbat, we study the parasha of Bahar, which is often connected to the next week's parasha, Bechukotai. This year they appear separately. And it is a parasha, it's pretty short, it's pretty much one full chapter. But it focuses on the system of land use and management. Very exciting stuff, right? But particularly with regard to the land of Israel. And we find in it laws that are regulating the sabbatical year, which we call the Shemitah year, right? And the Jubilee, which is called the Yovel year. And in this parsha then is what is that all about? But at the very beginning of the portion, we find God instructing Moses in the following way. God says, when you come to the land which I give you, so it's obviously preempting, it's pre-walking in across the Jordan to the promised land, right? So this is what's going to happen. And when you do that, says God, V'shavta ha'aretz, the land is to be given a Shabbat. Shavta, from Shabbat, right? Shav, which means sit or rest. V'shavta ha'aretz, give the land a Shabbat. Now, the people are told that goes on to say, the people are told that they can work the land for how many years? 6 years, and they can sow their field and they can prune the vineyards and all that other kind of stuff like gathering the produce. But when the 7th year arrives, what are we supposed to do? Basically observe a Shabbat. A Shabbat is to be celebrated on the land or of the land, right? So, and then by extension, the text continues to instruct us every 50th year. So what's 7 times 7? 49. So 7 times 7 is 49. So on the 50th year, that next year, that's the Yovel. That's the Jubilee year in which lands and vineyards are to be left alone. Let them lie fallow. Don't collect from them, right? So prepare before that, and we're not going to do any harvesting that way. And the lands are also to be then also released back to the original owner families. Those who originally own them, get them back after 50 years. And in addition, during this 50th year, all Israelites who had entered servitude for one reason or another, right? And this was not what we think about as slavery, but a system of paying debts, basically by being an indentured servant of sorts. In order to pay those debts off, right, you go in and you become a servant. Well, they're released. So if you're lucky enough, you've been an indentured servant for a little while, and come that Yovel year, you now are released from those debts. Now, as Jews living, I want to go back to the land for a minute, because that last part is a very interesting piece. We could discuss that all night. But I want to look at the land for a minute, because as Jews living in the 21st century, it's certainly far from our agrarian roots to worry about land, unless anybody farmers out here? Some of you might have a garden, right? Maybe a little garden, but there's no farmers that were sitting here in the sanctuary. So the question becomes, how do we understand the concept of this sabbatical of giving the land a Shabbat and of the Jubilee years, which again, don't apply to the land here, applies to the land in Israel. So don't worry, if you're gardening, you don't have to ask me, when's the next Jubilee year, because you're safe. But in Israel, those who are producing food and working the land, of course, pay attention to these sabbatical and Jubilee years. In fact, I got a question a few months ago from, maybe it was last year, I think actually, from a non-Jewish person in the community that specifically asked, do you know when the sabbatical year is in Israel? Randomly called. Obviously, they were studying the Torah, probably interested in knowing more about that, and I had to go look it up, to be quite honest, so to see where we were in that cycle. Now, the question becomes, how do we apply this teaching? Because the whole parsha really is all about this, and in essence. And so when it tells me, do I just ignore this? The land's to be given a Shabbat. Well, it doesn't apply to me. Who cares? Well, you know our text is never that way. Neither are our commentators. And there are many thinkers who have written very eloquently about the values of what the sabbatical and the Jubilee years are supposed to teach us in terms of more practical things like economics or society or how we, again, approach the land. There's an American, 19th century actually, American political economist, anyone who's into economies out here might know the name, Henry George. Anybody heard of Henry George? You have. Of course you have. David's raised his hand. Of course you have. You're well read, right? Well, Henry George, so you'll appreciate this, he suggests that the Jubilee year was actually intended to do what? Equalize wealth and to avoid oppression of the masses. So he looks at it from an economic point of view and a social point of view as well, right? That the reason that this happens is, and these laws happen, is so that it's kind of a reset for the wealthy never to get out of check, because, again, the land's going to go back to somebody else. If you're indentured and you're working for a wealthy family, you get your freedom. You're not indebted to them anymore. And so those loans that are made, and there's ways the rabbis fix all of that, but in essence, that's what Henry George suggests. That's what this is talking about. Okay, that sounds nice. Then you go to Maimonides. We'll go to the backwards. We'll go to the 13th century scholar Maimonides. And what did he say? Well, he focused his attention on the land in particular and on the mechanics of the land, and argued that the inherent agricultural value of this sabbatical idea, of this taking a break, right, in allowing the land to rest and replenish itself after 6 years of farming, that's related to smart farming, basically. Pretty good, right? You have to realize, in ancient times, what did our ancestors know, really, about agriculture and about the land, growing the land? But here Maimonides suggests that this concept of basically like a crop rotation idea, right, is very much connected. So he takes it from a very literal standpoint, if you will, to say, hey, and why do we do it? Because it's good for the land, it's good for your crops. This idea of crop rotation, again, comes from this instruction regarding the sabbatical. Now, if we look at the text, that's great, but I don't know about you, I still don't live in Israel, and I still don't worry about what my crops are bringing my crops in. So what do I do with this? Well, there's lots of different explanations, but if we look at the text specifically, there's an emphasis we see that's placed on giving the land a Shabbat. It doesn't say anything about your crops, and it doesn't say anything really about, it talks about debts, but not really about wealth, and about because we want to make everybody more equal, we're going to do this. None of that is there. The emphasis is on Shabbat, and the word is repeated several times with a sense of earnestness and command, right? You shall observe a Shabbat. You shall observe a Shabbat. Observe a Shabbat, right? And the text seems to go out of its way to ignore talking about societal or economic or even ecological foundations for this system of having a sabbatical. It doesn't even touch it. So, of course, Shabbat then seems to have something to do with Shabbat. Now, what do we know about Shabbat? What's Shabbat for us? A day of rest, right? Yeah, it's kind of a common thing. A day of rest. What does that mean? Well, it's a day where we are to literally refrain from certain actions, certain malachot, specific labors of work, based on the labors that were done in the building of the tabernacle, which is, we've extended from those. But what is really Shabbat? It's a day to restore our spirits, renew our energy, take time to focus on the priorities of life. But we also know it's really actually a lot more than that even, because on Shabbat, we spend the day refraining from those things that express our ability, our constructive mastery, if you will, constructive mastery over the universe. We are refraining from things that manipulate the world around us, that give us that sense that, hey, we can do anything, right? And today, most any work we know can be accomplished through technology, through mechanical processes, right? You want to call somebody, you don't have to do anything, just to pick up your phone. There it is, right? You used to have to, you want to send a note to somebody, you don't even have to put it on the Pony Express. What do? Right? Text. You just text it, right? So it's a reminder that while we have all this technology, we have these mechanical processes, we have a way to manipulate the world around us very easily. But yet one day out of the week, we're reminded that we don't really have as much control over our world as we should or pretend to be, right? So we step back from all that, and we're saying, you know what? We can't control everything. Now, put this perspective in the case of the sabbatical year. And we see that the instruction in our text reminds us that no matter how advanced we can become, no matter how great our monetary wealth or our constructive mastery over the land may be, You know, we've gone from everywhere from irrigation to hydroponics to wind farms to all the things that we can do to manipulate the land and grow. We still have limits. There's still El Nino and La Nina, right? There are still, we can try, but we can't necessarily make the thunderstorms come or stop them from coming. Now, yes, we have a connection, we have a hand in making those things happen through how we relate to the earth, right? Global emissions, global warming, all those things that we as human beings affect. But still, the powers of the universe are still much stronger than we are. I can't make have the earth stop rotating. It just isn't going to happen, right? Not at least me doing anything to it. So along comes this command, and what it tells us, according to traditional commentators, is that they're reminders to stop and take a breath, and to really remind ourselves that we are human. So as we give a breath to the land, we remind ourselves that we have limits too. And in an agricultural setting, the 7-year cycle is spent struggling with the unpredictability of nature, of water, of temperature, of sunlight, of pests, right? Pest control that might eat our crops, of hail that might destroy what we're growing. For those of us in the more urban pursuits, those struggles may be more about business or a career or suppliers or retailers or stock market or any of those things. It might even be just balancing our checkbook and making sure the bills are paid. So those are our things that we have desire to control, but that take work, and then sometimes we have to step back to that. So with the 7th year, as we do with the 7th day, right? The 7th year for the land, the 7th day for us, that comes each week, that reminds us that we have limitations as human beings. It reminds ourselves that the world in which we live is a lot greater than just us. Really, it's God's land. And for that year in particular, we hand it back to God. We remind ourselves that it's God's land. And we take a step back and remember those divine gifts that we've been granted. So when you get a chance, if you get a chance to look at the parashah and read a little bit about the sabbatical or the Yovel, the Jubilee year, keep that in mind, the context of the command that our parashah starts with, which is the land shall be given a Shabbat, not a rest from its work, not a toy, not a don't harvest the land. It could have said that. It says specifically the land is to be given a Shabbat. So keep that in mind. We have been given the gift of Shabbat, and we here certainly are enjoying the ability to come together and celebrate that Shabbat. But as you walk out the doors later tonight, bring that message with you. Think about the ways that you can take a breath from the mastery of the world that we tend to walk around with each day of the week, and humble ourselves just a bit, reminding ourselves of the gifts that life has given us, the gifts that the land gives us, and we'll give a little bit of time for the land to take a break as well. So with that, I say Shabbat Shalom. And we will go forward into our evening service that formally welcomes our Sabbath on page 39A. 39A. And if you're able to kindly rise as we join together. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamevorach. Baruch Adonai Hamevorach, Hamevorach leolam va'ed. Hamevorach, Hamevorach leolam va'ed. You may be seated. We read together in the English the bracha of creation, the coming of evening light on 39A. This is our first bracha of the evening service, and it always reminds us of the gift of creation and the cycles of the world, the cycles of nature. Again, things that we cannot control, the time and space around us. So page 39a, we read at the bottom of the page in the English. Baruch atah Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, hamari v'aravim. We join together, page 40 at the top. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha havta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachveinu u'v'kumeinu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu, v'yorech yameinu, uvahem nehege yomam v'layla, yomam v'layla. V'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. 41. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshoch becha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtaftam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. We read in the English together. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all that is yours. These words that I command you this day shall be taken to heart. Teach them again and again to your children. Speak of them when you sit in your home, when you walk on your way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand and as a symbol above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your home and on your gates. We continue over on page 44, Umalchuto b'ratzon, leading up to Michamocha. Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem, Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael lechanuhu shira, b'simcha rabba v'yamruhu chulam. Michamocha va'elim Adonai, Mikamocha nedar b'kodesh, norati lo sefele. Malchutecha ra'uvanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze'elianu v'yamru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 45 in the English, if you'll join with me in the reading of Hashkivenu, our prayer that asks for a sense of shalom as we end our day and as we hope to sleep peacefully and awaken to a brighter tomorrow. Top of 45. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over and deliver us. And you, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace, now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch atah Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu l'chayim l'shalom yatav yad olam. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We turn over to page 46 as we rise for Vishamru. Our paragraph from Exodus reminds us of our connection to God through the observance of Shabbat. We're taking that day of rest seriously and putting it as part of our day, our weekly routine, as part of our lives. We join together. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beheni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash, Shavat vayinafash. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We continue with Chatzi Kaddish, middle of the page. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah b'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala Ubizman kari veimeru amen. Yehishmei Rabba mevorach le'olam l'almei almaya yitbarach yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha berichu le'la min kol birchata v'shirata Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran v'alma v'imheru. Amen. You'll find the silent Amidah for this evening beginning on page 47 and following through to 52. As always, feel free to add your own personal thoughts to the words on the page, and when you're through, you're welcome to be seated. Page 47. We continue with Kaddish Shalem over on page 54. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba v'yalma divrach yirutev yamlich malchuteh b'chayechon v'imechon uv'chayeducho be'Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kari v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam olal me'ol maya yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yama v'imeru. Amen. Titgabal tzaloton v'uton d'chol Yisrael kol dam v'huni v'shemaya v'imeru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim alenu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imeru. Amen. Hoseh shalom bimromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You'll kindly turn towards the back of your Siddur on page 173 There you will find our prayer, our Misha Berach, for those who are ill, those who need healing. And I have a list here, certainly, of those who are in need, and you are certainly welcome to add to them after I read the ones we have here. But you'll, again, turn to 173 on the far left. In the small print, you will find our Misha Berach. And as we prepare to sing our prayer this evening, we keep in our thoughts all those who are in need of healing. Daniel Eliezer ben Zvi, Shulamit bat Gittel, Yisraela bat Tzipora, Shulamit bat Binyaminu Malka, Chaya bat Avraham Vasara, Dan Siegel, Danielle Rice, Gittel Glasser, Ari Sanders, Ariella Alfieri, Peyton Matthews, Bill Bucks, Samuel Sheridan, Estelle Lurie, Lynn Alexander, Marjorie Morstein, Linda Cutler, Diane Hickey, Barbara Feingold, Harriet Siegel, Lori Kahan Simon, Nadine Hyman, Ed Tansky, Irene Friedman, Gary Kramer, Arthur Stone, Natalie Kogan, Diana Saltzman, Victor Alfieri, Michael Abrams, Francis Haber, Michelle Stupak, Caitlin Weathers, Alex Schwartz, Danielle Santini, Becky Smith, Julia Bernanke, Irene Goodman, Teresa Timmons, Esther Rowe, Suzanne Gott, Joan Klepp, Estelle Rice, Hannah Lipman, Gary Hutcher, Deborah Haggery, Susan Aller, and Megan Catigno. And all names we add at this moment. Keep them in our thoughts as we join together on 173. Mishe Beirach Avotenu Mekor haberacha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishe Beirach imotenu Mekor haberacha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Refuah shlema to all in need. Before we go into Aleinu, we turn back in our Siddur to page 63. We are in the period of counting the Omer, the 49-day, 7 weeks by times 7 days times 7 weeks rather, where we are counting from the second day of Passover all the way through to the holiday of Shavuot on the 50th day. So if you'll kindly turn to page 63 and rise if you're able to as we recite together the bracha and the formula at the top in the English on page 63, followed by the bracha in the Hebrew. And last night we counted 31. So now you know where to count. I will guide you when we get there. It's a few pages over. Our Siddur doesn't help us by putting the number. You got to kind of find it. But it's down. It's over on page 68, I believe. Yes, page 68. So let's read together the English on 63, followed by our bracha. I am about to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, as it is written in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an Omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. We turn over to page 68 And right in the middle of the page, under ER 17, we read together, Hayom Shnayim Ushloshim Yom, Shehem Arba'a Shavuot V'Arba'a Yamim La Omer. Today marks the 32 days, the 32nd day. That's exactly 4 weeks and 4 days in the counting of the Omer. As we count the days, may we be sure to make each day of life count as well. And together we say, Amen. We remain standing as we turn onto page 56. Go back a little bit where you'll find Aleinu. And if anybody is around to help open up the ark, I would appreciate it. Please put a kippah on your head. Page 56, we join together. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol latet gedula liotzer breshit shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'gohor aleinu kechol hamonam V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim ve'yoser haaretz umoshav yikaro bashamayim mima'al ushchinatu zo begov hei meromim Hu Eloheinu Einod Emetz Malkeinu Efezulato Kakatu B'Torato V'yadat Hayom V'hashevota Elevavecha Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim B'Shamayim Mima'al V'al haaretz mitachat einod al kenekav elech Adonai Eloheinu Ki hamalchut shelcha hi ulamei timloch bechavod kakatu b'toratecha V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz v'yom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad U'shemo echad. Just a little more, somebody. You are welcome to be seated. Okay, not jump, seat. Sit. Let me get my list here. As we prepare to recite, he'll talk to me later. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that information. I could have found out about it in about 5 minutes. That's all right. As we prepare to recite Mourner's Kaddish today, we certainly keep in our thoughts those whose yortzites occur today and in the week that is coming. Nathan Blumberg, Helen Schneider, Max Zander, Abel Saul, Howard David, Howard Levin, Rose Deglin, Abraham Scher, Nat Kaplan, Herb Meyerowitz, Lowell Jerome Kremer, Hyman Fishman, Edwin Eisman, Philip Goldstein, Fanny Pollock, Rose Goodove, Anna Lurie, Rebecca Weinstein, George Hundley, Helen Reiter, Julius Reiter. Certainly we continue to remember Barbara Rabhan, and we remember Barry Rice. Page 58, you'll find Kaddish Tome, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael ba'agala ubizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach le'olam elomei omaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei dekudasha, b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May be seated. My Bima buddy, Sue, and my choral partner back in the back, if you will kindly share with us some announcements. Want to shout? Or it's, yeah, either way, it's up there. If you want to shout up there. Yes, the sheet's up there. I have it right here.
All right.
Stay down here.
So difficult. Good Shabbos, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi, for a lovely service. The Oneg tonight is sponsored by Richard and Barry Zander. Thank you, Richard. The Kiddush tomorrow is sponsored by Neil Fontenot. Announcements and updates. Don't forget to RSVP for our Southern Style Shabbat dinner next Friday, May 31st. Dinner will begin at 6 p.m., followed by Friday night Shabbat service at 7:30. More information on the website. Office is closed Monday for Memorial Day. The building will be closed on Tuesday and Thursday, but phones and email will be monitored. Join us for our Shavuot holiday observance on Tuesday, June 11th, voting day, at 7 p.m. A study session with plenty of cheesecake will be offered. Wednesday morning, June 12th at 10 a.m., join us for Shavuot Festival morning service. Yizkor will be recited at that time. Okay, Hebrew class, you guys know, Tuesday adult education class with Fred on Zoom at 5:30, and no Turning Point class with Rabbi Cohen this week. Anniversaries, Dan and Laura Newman on the 26th. Birthdays, Stephen Gold, the 24th. Sandra Umstead, the 24th. Lily Gleish, who I believe is string 3, the 27th. And Barry Knox on the 28th. So you can all tell them happy birthday tomorrow. Thank you.
Quick and easy, huh? There you go. Thank you. Got it. All right. Well, we got it all. And a thank you to Sue for covering things along with Fred last week in my absence. If you all can help make a minion, certainly put that Shavuot date on your calendar for Tuesday, June 11th at 7. Again, lots of cheesecake. But we'll be doing a little bit of studying. That's the holiday of Shavuot. The main ritual for the holiday is studying Torah. So we're going to have some fun doing a little bit of studying and eating a lot of cheesecake. So, come join us with that. And I don't eat that much cheesecake, so you can come and eat my portion and have extra. How's that? There's enticement. And then the next morning, we'll get up and we will certainly have our festival morning service. And Yizkor is recited as part of the holiday, so just keep that in mind as well. Just remember that, the office, I know that it's a little, throws people off. We'll be able to monitor the phone from afar, but the building will be closed. I know Siobhan's got final things with her daughter this week coming up, so office hours will be a little bit different than they are usually, so just keep that in your brains. With that, we're going to conclude, and then we'll head in the back. I think we're going to need a little help in making sure we get set up and actually get put down. So everybody will help out with that. Don't forget tomorrow, again, I know we'll be a little bit thin because there's a bat mitzvah over at the temple. People are away. It's one of those kind of weekends. So if you can come help and want to spend a little bit of your Shabbat here, I know that there's Kiddush lunch for your troubles, so you can do that as well. And we will be here next week for our dinner. Please remember it is a RSVP, by the way. I know Sue just said that, but an RSVP and a pay, because it's brisket. We don't have meat very often, but we do this time, so This is an opportunity to have a good brisket dinner, but we need your reservation and payment in before next Friday. If you can, please. If you plan to attend, certainly you can come to the service at 7:30. We'll be here joining together. So with that, a little bit of the hard ending. Bim, Bom, Shabbat, Shalom. Hey, I love it. We got new hand motions now, right? Bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, bam, bim, 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 bam, bim, 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, Shalom. Hey, Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom, everybody. And we'll head in the back. We can do a little Kiddush and Motzi together. And there is a nosh out there. So come nosh away.
you leave